Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to TARTLEcast, environmental, social, good, stakeholder, capitalism.
Skiing.
Skiing.
Alex, skiing at Davos.
At Davos.
I love like the Swiss flag is so cool.
It is
Just
cool.
the look.
No,
I know they've
great.
marketed a lot and stuff like
Great
that.
contrast on it.
Swiss-made watches. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Oh, yeah. You know what's interesting about
Davos is in Switzerland, right?
You know what's about, yeah. You know what's interesting about Davos? They're talking about all this like ESG investing, environmental, social good. Do you know like 80% of those people show up in private jets?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's not like they took a freaking Peter Pan bus there.
No, they went from their yacht to their... I mean, think about it. They went from their yacht to a plane,
and I need my
I
need my steak on the plane that came from a cow that I had to lop down some rainforest for just so that they could graze. This is good. This is good stuff.
Oh yeah, this is great.
So what? Can we touch on this article? Tim, all right, I'm just gonna in my own point right here. A lot of hypocrisy in it, and I'm gonna call it out because that's what I like to do. But please, tell me more about this ESG.
Well, I think it's. Let me clarify that hypocrisy. It's in all of us. I mean, we make decisions based off of environmental. I mean, it's not us sitting, and I don't want this podcast to be perceived as that at all. Like we have the answers, and we're sitting on a higher level, looking down, and just calling out hypocrisy like a pastor would in an old school church, and all these companies all these CEOs are sitting in pews, and Alexander McCaig is yelling at them.
I'm not trying to yell at you.
That's not the idea at all, because we're all you, me, everyone. There's hypocrisy in our behaviors all the time.
All the time. So I'm just trying to we all just
that's
need
how
to be
we
honest.
learn.
We all got to be honest with ourselves. Okay. And if you have a multi-billion-dollar budget and you're saying, we're going
to throw 300,000 at this.
300,000, it's like, get out of here. You don't actually care. So let's take it off. Let's talk about
positive impacts on the environment and society. So they decided at the World Economic Forum, they drew up a version of a curated list of ESG goals. And they wanted to encourage business to inform stakeholders of these non-financial contributions in such areas as employee well-being, human rights. And there's 60 different things that they talk about in this.
But can we think about something real quick? It was 200 companies and investors that drew up these goals.
Yes.
And these are the resource holders, and they're determining for the rest of the world. Did they ask anybody, a person, outside of Davos, outside of the World Economic Forum, outside of the investor profile?
Well, they even call it it's called stakeholder capitalism metrics.
It's not a stakeholder if you haven't talked to people.
Yes.
I don't see you talk to 200 companies and investors and said this is the metric for the world, dude. That's absurd. It's absurd.
Yeah, but because you may in your little studies say water consumption is number one, where you talk to we've seen those studies where millennials, climate stability is number one.
Yeah.
So you need to talk to the people, especially your customers. That's where Patagonia does such a great job.
What if you're an investor, right? You're like, these sustainability goals, I really want to pipe towards water, filtration technology because that's the business I'm in.
Well, my competitor is this, and if we push this, and I can do this in this certain region, and I have these lobbyists do this for me, then I'm going to have a higher ROI based off of that.
Who's the stakeholder?
Yes.
The stakeholder's the lobbyist. Stakeholder's the investor. Okay? Oh, by the way, they're also the shareholder. You want to know something? What about the earth? What about normal old Joe Schmo on the street? What about the decentralized effects of your sustainable development goals on those human beings?
Yes.
All I'm seeing here is, we're talking about employee well-being and human rights. What about human well-being and human rights? And why are you defining what that right is for them? They need to define it and tell you.
Well, I mean, you look at it, it says the prosperity pillar involves economic contribution and total tax paid. And the governance pillar includes information and anti-corruption initiatives.
Dude.
So, they're looking at metrics, numbers, taxes, ratios, rates, statistics. The model is all messed up.
The model, it's stakeholder capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism doesn't have stakeholders.
No.
Capitalism is a zero-sum game. It's archaic. There is no stakeholder in it. It's a shareholder. You cannot paint it in some sort of light and make it into something good when fundamentally that's not what it is. At its base, it's not how it's designed.
Yeah, and he says this. He says, CEOs and board members are taking environmental and social factors seriously, and the agreement to report numbers shows it's not just a symbolic gesture, but an effort in transparency.
Dude, it's because, listen.
What is an effort in transparency? What does that look like?
An effort?
What type of effort are you making in this?
What is the effort? What are you actually doing? Jason, it's either you're transparent or you're not. I don't look at a window and I'm saying, man, that glass is really trying to be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Either it is or it isn't. It's opaque or it's transparent. It's one or the other. But it's not an effort to be. That's like, oh, we're slowly trying to clean the dirt off.
Yeah, and he says this. Think because
gosh,
this shows the brain, the mentality. Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, El Tabology or whatever. But he says the pandemic has perhaps showed businesses the renewed importance of the people section. The section. The people. You
only
section.
had to watch a bunch of people across
the globe. Think of the word
globe.
section.
Oh my god.
In our business, the people section.
It's not a priority. It's just a little piece over here.
Right.
You had to wait for the world to get sick and die.
Your business is 100% the people section.
Oh my god, dude.
The people section is your business.
This is why I'm losing hair on my head.
There's no section. There's no 10% of our business is the people section. 100% of your business is the people section.
It's completely founded on people. Your business does not run without people.
Yeah, and it says by joining the pledge, the companies in their community report to their investors and stakeholders the metrics that are most relevant to their businesses.
Why? Dude, there's a shift. This is what this is akin to. You ready for this? People don't want food that is genetically modified.
Right.
So what do all the businesses do? Shift over to it. If companies don't want to invest in companies that don't have ESG, what are the people going to do? We got to shift over to it. Let's make a pledge. You're not doing anything. You're only doing it because you don't want to lose profit. You frankly don't give a shit about human beings or the planet. You're making a pledge? I don't care about a pledge. I care about action. Words are empty. Go do something. You're not doing anything. You're a resource holder. You're scamming people. Figure it out. I don't care about your stupid report. I don't care about this idea of stakeholder capitalism. I care about human beings. Now, one of these things has a focus on a human being.
Yeah, and I want you to think of TARTLE when they say this. Listen to this. That's easier to do as a coalition rather than leaving it to individual companies to construct their own separate systems.
Do you know what coalition is the base of? Fascism. It's a bundle of sticks. That's the whole idea. Why do you think fascism always used that idea of like these twigs all put together? There's no when you talk about coalition, it's that statistical idea of power. It's not actually respecting the individual again. All they do is think about bundling all the time. Oh, that's solved. That bucket of people, that's solved. That's taken care of. Oh, did we hit our tick mark for ESG? Yeah, we solved that. We can keep our investments up. Oh, did we hit this one for stakeholders, for the investors? Yeah, we did that. Do we look good compared to other companies? Yeah, we did that. Are you kidding? Seriously. This isn't a function of bad mouth. It's just a function of, hey, you're lying. You're not actually doing anything.
Right.
Every time an individual goes to buy a product or use a service of your company, they're investing in you.
Mm-hmm. That's something that they don't understand.
That's an investment in you. Do not look at them as just this funnel of cash.
They chose out of their free will to make an investment with you.
Correct.
Not you coerced them into something.
They went in there to go buy it. They're the one that chose to sign up.
That's two different philosophies in understanding how you communicate with a human.
And people think, oh, that's just consumer-driven business, ESG. The reason a shipping container goes from the eastern ports of Hong Kong all the way over through the Suez Canal and to the other side of the world is to deliver products for people that want to purchase them. Mm-hmm. It's not about the other, and there was a human being driving that ship because he was told to do so.
Right.
Because someone needs him to be there.
Mm-hmm.
He's invested in that sort of action. These people are invested in you to be there. but you're not really investing in them.
Mm-mm.
You're doubling down on yourself and these ideas that you're helping the world, but you're not really helping them. Why is it that they have to come in and give up everything for you and you do nothing for them? There's no action there. It's a fake pledge all day long. Royal Dutch Shell? Are you shitting me? You guys are talking about the environment, a pledge? Stop selling oil. It's a scam. The whole thing's a damn scam. Figure it out. You're lying to people. You don't care about the planet. Unilever? You care about the oceans? Bullshit. You know how many tuna you kill every single day? Do you know how many dolphins you kill every day? How many people you support to rake the bottom of the ocean? Oh, but we also sell deodorant and do all these other great things, right? We don't put chemicals in this product. Think about the other 70% of the earth that you're paying to just have raked clean of life. But you're going to take a pledge? Stop doing what you're doing right now at this moment. Invest in people. Stop looking at what's just good for you. Because what's just good for you is killing people, it's killing the planet, and only for a brief moment when you get hammered by the public, when life is hanging by a thread because of a fucking pandemic, that's when you say we got to do something about it. You should have seen beforehand that these are human beings, that you truly valued them and this planet, because you don't survive without them. So I don't want your crap ideas about stakeholder capitalism if there's no action behind it.
And how would TARTLE solve that problem?
How could that problem?
Unilever or Royal, Dutch, these large corporations, how could they come in and have an effort towards consumers?
Unilever, Royal Dutch Shell. Use the marketplace and meet human beings at their doorstep. Ask them what they really care about. I'm upset because you choose to ignore them.
Yeah, and you're just worried about the shareholder, not the consumer.
You're not worried about the consumer. You're not worried about the aftermath or effects. If you were, you would stop today, dead in your tracks with the actions you've been taking, with the products you create. Those things would stop right now. But you won't do it because the economics of an old way of capitalism are incentivizing you to turn a blind eye to these things.
Any CEO that would make that decision would be falling on a sword.
Yeah, why are they falling on a sword? Because you have chosen to join people, join an architecture, join a social idea that says it's really for the economics. And if you took the other route for human beings and the planet and respected people, asked them what their thoughts are, meet them where they are, you'd be falling on a sword, but you'd be supported in doing it by 7 billion people across the globe. Instead of worrying about what a couple of stakeholder investors are saying about where you're headed with your company.
But I mean, if you're a CEO, a CIO, whatever, TARTLE can help you specifically, especially with your data, in understanding, not only what's important to the consumer, but then also it can show, there's so many variants that if you introducing a new product and you want to know if is there any consumer interest in this product?
Sure. Rather than me just throwing out there and forcing interest.
Yeah, exactly. Are taking these multi-million-dollar test beds and then running all these, you can literally do that in real time and get the data back very quickly and have that decision. You can take your 30 million people that you have in Uganda and take that data and turn around and have them let you know the importance of it. And it's that simple. Whether it's the marketplace, TARTLE marketplace is very, very simple.
That's why I get so fired up. I'm not trying to just say you're a bad person. I'm just saying you're ignoring things that truly can help.
You're operating and everyone knows this. You're operating in a negative connotation.
Yeah.
And we just talked with Carl. We were talking about the last episode, Carl Jung, and he said, that was his beef with Freud, was like the whole idea, Sigmund Freud, the whole idea was you're operating on this negative assumption of humans. And it's the same thing in our marketing and everything that we're doing in our data. We're operating in this negative assumption of humans. Whenever whenever you have capital, then it is your responsibility as a company to use that capital to better humanity. So if you have a negative view of humanity, which is wrong in and of itself, but how can you make them champions you, and then the products that they purchase, how can you make them champions of embracing all of these environmental concerns?
Yeah.
You have the responsibility to build that bridge with your consumers. That's your responsibility.
It's your business.
Yes.
It's your multinational firm with your just immense amount of resources.
And if you want to go super negative and not care about the environment and just take as much as you want, hey,
go ahead.
That's your
You're
position.
right. Yeah, you're writing your history into the dust.
Yeah.
And guess what? There'll be no one to actually record that history 50 years from now.
No. Yeah, because as we evolve, as humanity evolves, we're seeing a conscious shift towards this, and this is why the Big Seven is so important to us, and this is why you get so passionate, Alex, about this, is whenever we look at climate stability, educational access, human rights, government and corporate transparency, that's in our Big Seven, we at TARTLE say, hey, we want you to sign up, not just as a buyer, but as a seller also, and then you can take your data and donate to these causes.
And that's
so
important. You got to support.
If you have 30 million people and you take your consumers and invite them to sign on to TARTLE, and then you can turn around, not only can you ask them specific questions and they can get paid for the data, they can also take that and donate it to these certain causes, to these not-for-profits.
And now think about that full circle approach. You speak of ESG.
Yes.
These are holistic ideas.
Yes.
But what you're doing is non-holistic. So we are coming here to offer you an option to really put your money where your mouth is. Execute upon it. You've all read the books by Larry Bossidy on execution.
Yeah.
Do it. Show it.
But I think it's, instead of saying, oh, we're going to try to work on these 60 things, and, there's really good companies out there that are doing this, pick something. Say, okay, Unilever, we're going to help with the oceans. Okay. Well, let's stick to the oceans and let's do all we can do, have a clear vision.
Yeah.
Of how we can impact this now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and 20 years from now. And what decisions can we make for that? It doesn't have to be 60 different things, because as well as I do, whenever you start going into all these different directions, one thing doesn't get accomplished.
No.
So yeah, it's great. I like that everyone's getting together and there's even a thought process on this. Thought into this is great. And I'm glad CEOs are putting a pledge and signing their initials on this. And hopefully with that, it's not just this fringe group going out, on a ledge and feeling like they're basically killing themselves because they decided. Because I guarantee you there's a lot of good CEOs out there.
Sure.
That are handcuffed, that would love to be able to take a percentage of their budget and say,
oh, they're handcuffed?
Yeah.
Not a good CEO then. In my mind, you are not leading if you are completely out of control. If you can't make a decision that's for the best of everything, even though it might hurt your profits, you're not leading correctly.
I know, but I mean, you take somebody like Coca-Cola. There's going to be, dude. Think about that. You would last. Well, you wouldn't even be considered for CEO.
I wouldn't even go there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, there's no. So we have a. Should
I give him a pass, dude?
No. I don't think you should give him a pass. But there's a way. It's like, remember we talked about the Buddhist monk that put himself on fire.
Sure. Yeah.
You can fall on the sword, but is there a percentage of good that you can do sitting where you're at now and the responsibility? What good does it do if you're the CEO of Coca-Cola and you say, okay, I'm changing everything, we're going to go ESG, and then shareholders, they do a vote and you're out? Or could you say, I can't be 100% effective, but maybe I can start slowly as a leader shifting this, and then in 5 years we have something. Maybe I could work in that direction. You know what I mean? Then that's a dichotomy in leadership, because it's like, do I fall on the sword, or do I slowly implement this process of influence in the position that I'm in, the responsibility that I've been given? Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Because would you want a CEO? Let's say you have a CEO that's 100% in on all of this, and they believe in climate stability and human rights and all of that. And he's like, okay, today I'm going to make a decision. I'm writing to the shareholders. This is what I'm going to stand for, and I'm leading the company in this direction. Well, in 2 hours, he gets a phone call and he's fired.
Yeah.
Or could he say, okay, let me get people in the room together and let's slowly try to see where we can use this. I know the shareholders aren't going to care if I take $2 billion and move it in this direction. Okay, well, there's $2 billion that you just helped more than you can, because there's people in positions, Alex, that are listening to this right now.
Yeah.
That they have a lot of responsibility, whether they're a chief information officer or whatever, and they may be in Walmart or may be in Coca-Cola or whatever. And I don't want them to sit there and say, and then, next thing you know, they're dead. Figuratively speaking, you know what I mean? I want them to say there is a solution where you're at right now. You're at Coca-Cola, you're at Walmart, great. You're at Unilever, great. TARTLE is that solution for you. You can be the hero sitting in that seat that you're sitting in right now.
And that's action.
Yes.
Action requires that.
And TARTLE's not going to make you fall on the sword, because now you're paying for data. You're ethically sourcing it right. You're take a small percentage of your budget, put it towards TARTLE, and then you're going to allow people to be able to donate towards these causes in the first place.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
You're doing good on both sides.
Yes.
We're not asking you to eradicate one thing you're doing. We're just saying, let's transition to a better option. Let's evolve out of an old paradigm and move into this new one.
And I don't want people to think because they're a CIO of Unilever that they're in a bad position and they're a bad person.
No, we're not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying that action truly defines what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
If I can empirically look at you in an objective sense and say, you saved this many lives.
Yes.
You financially empowered this many people.
Mm-hmm.
You've specifically dropped carbon and stopped manufacturing products that don't need to be manufactured. That is a very objective, factual thing you did.
Yes.
But a pledge is nothing factual.
Mm-hmm.
Stating that you're going to try and do something isn't actually doing it. Nobody gives a damn about a pledge. If you go into a hospital and you tell a family, we're going to try and save this person's life, they don't care about the trying. They just want them saved.
Right.
That's not this middle ground, riskless stance that you take is worthless. And stop putting that in the news. Put something in the news to show me that you objectively did something for the greater good of all.
Yeah, and maybe you're a CTO out there and you're like, okay, I'm interested. You guys got me interested. It's not a risk to have a conversation with us.
No.
We would love to be able to sit down and we're about building bridges, not tearing companies down.
That's precisely correct. We want to give you the best tool in the world to be that leading company in ESG. Mm-hmm. We want you to be the company that comes to the news and says, look what we have done. Mm-hmm. Look what we understand now by meeting people. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm only here to yell at Jason.
So Philip Morris, love for you to sign up for TARTLE.
Yeah, come on.
Unilever would love for you to sign up. Shell, love for you to sign up. We would love to be able to help. You have the worst reputation in the world for the company. I want to have a conversation with you.
Let's help you out.
Yes.
Let's not all look like Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah, exactly.
Lehman
Brothers.
You know what your pledge should be? Going on and signing up on the TARTLE marketplace.
Yes.
That should be your first step of the pledge.
Goldman Sachs?
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
That's an actionable thing.
Mm-hmm.
We all can see transparently everywhere across the globe that has happened.
I mean,
for a fact.
This is so great. Let's say Goldman Sachs, right? And then their reputation, being known, the white shirt, starch white shirts, all that.
Always cut the bottom 10%.
Alpha male, all that. And then they turn around and say, "Oh, okay, we have, these many billions of dollars. We have, I don't know, 500 million emails of people that we know that have worked with us in the past or are investing with us, whatever it may be, banking." And then they turn around and they say, okay, we're going to team up with TARTLE. Mm-hmm. So you have 500 million people that get on board, team up with TARTLE. You start asking them questions. Maybe you say, okay, these are guys that invested, 250,000 or more with us. So I want to ask them a question. What do they feel is important? And then next thing you know, your data comes back and it is all about maybe economic equalization. That's one of our top 7. And so people are like, I want to support economic equalization. And it's a resounding 80%.
And then
that gives you a direction.
Think about all the people being like, let's put money in this now.
Yeah, exactly.
So saying, what are they going to do next? And then guess about where the market is headed. Know where the market is.
So the CEO comes out with an email that says this: "We heard you."
Oh, we heard you. That is amazing. Exactly.
And this is the direction we want to take. We want to help economic equalization.
Yeah.
And I got our team together, and this is how we're going to do it with our employees.
Yep.
And this is how we're going to do it with you guys.
Yep.
And now I have vision and direction, and there's no falling on the sword then.
No.
Because all of those people that had 250,000 more, they're going to vote for you as a CEO.
Correct. Why? Because you came to them, you ethically sourced it,
Yes.
and you also showed them, here is the data, and this is how we analyzed it.
And this is first-party data. This is what our most important investors, this is what they said.
Yes.
And together with Unity, we came up with the decision. And guess who helped you as a tool, served you? We did at TARTLE.
Thanks.